Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and welcome back to another immense day of Call of Duty drama. The SAE drama version 2 we had today in the New York Subliners versus Seattle Surge series. Loads of controversy about this one. Should it have been a replay? Should it have not? So much to talk about today. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. I mean, look at Benjo to see, man. What an absolute sex icon of the competitive Call of Duty community. Let's dive into things then. This was how New York started out the day, looking indomitable. Like, look at these KDs. Skies, Priest, even Hydra and Kismet, all on the top 10 KDs of the first couple of days. And as Brian Stats pointed out, they went in undefeated into this series in the Pro-Am tournaments last year with Crim and a slightly different team. They went, obviously they won that event right in pretty dominant fashion. Then they were doing the same thing again this time around at the new version of the Pro-Am. But before then, we've got to talk about the Vegas Legion, baby. What a performance from these guys. They play up against the Subliners in the final match of the day, actually, and I'll talk about that tomorrow morning. But first of all, to get to that point, they had to play the Minnesota Rokkr, and man, what a series this was. I think everyone knew really this was going game 5. I said it this morning that I feel like it's got to go something like this, and I was hoping that Vegas could take it down. Game 1, I mean, Afro was absolutely flying here, and the hard point, in fairness, from the Rokkr were looking okay. Weird team, this Minnesota Rokkr squad, because on paper, they should be very solid, right? Okay, they're maybe not quite Toronto in terms of pure ability, but they shouldn't be too far off. For them to have struggled like they have done and barely make it out of the groups, okay, they made it out of the groups fairly comfortably, but they had to play LAG, and I mean, that's not really an impressive victory as far as I'm concerned. And then they play Vegas, go game 5, and look, don't get me wrong, Vegas are good, but yeah, I'm sure Minnesota will be thinking, you know what, wasn't an impressive first showing from the team, and they might be thinking what they've got to do going forwards, because Afro's impressed me, but is still, you know, kind of an up and down player, and they've all had their good series sometimes, but yeah, nonetheless, it's Vegas and their search and destroy gameplay that was making the difference. And it really is great to see, because when this team was formed, we talked a lot about Clayster and Temp and the importance these guys would have, and the fact that I really liked that AR combination. It was the SMGs that were the big question mark to me. TJ has not been World War II Black Ops 4 TJ for a long time now, since, you know, pretty much World War II and Black Ops 4, as I just said, and we have been wondering, is TJ ever going to get back to that form? What's going on there? Prelude, of course, we had the words a few days ago from Parasite saying that, you know, he's a solid player, but, you know, he's not quite good enough to be playing at this level. But those guys, despite I think those comments were valid online, they turn up to LAN and they start showing up big time, right? And it's great to see for the Vegas guys. Now, while that was going on, there was a Bravo stream game between Thieves and the Florida Mutineers. The hilarious thing to me about this is the fact that Florida have officially done it again. I don't understand. It doesn't matter what team they put together. They follow the same script every single event. They turn up, they knock OpTic out, and then they just lose pretty much immediately afterwards. It's comedy how consistently this happens. Now, Parasite was coaching his team, Decimate Gaming or whatever, in the Challenger side, but he also subbed in for a European squad, and well, we'll see what happens to that storyline here in a second. Now, Minnesota Rokkr, they go down in the control, preempting a little bit here with this SAE discussion we shall see in a second, and this was the control round that won it for them. This is unbelievable stuff. Super hard to win an offense, of course, on Fortress control. Goes down to a 1 versus 1, and Donnie Tempman was frying this entire game, finds himself in a 1 versus 1 up against Bance. So Donnie Temp already here was 30 and 17. Goes 2 versus 1. Bance gets the trade here, and it's a 1v1 Temp versus Bance, and Temp just guns him. This was the other POV, actually. But, I mean, yeah, look at the hype from the Vegas guys after the fact. Really cool to see that. There's nothing that kind of says Call of Duty more to me, competitive COD more, than Clayster getting hyped after a map. It's one of the most, like, just iconic things that can happen, not just today. He did the same thing a decade ago to what he's doing today. It's awesome to see, and, well, that was what was happening after this map of the series. Temp went clutch, and then while that was going on, Thieves just demolished Florida Mutineers 3-0. Kind of expected, but I mean, yeah, look at this. Sorry, I don't know who put this on the Reddit, but I just thought it was funny. So I just thought I'd chuck it in the video, but credit to whoever who did make it, because it's pretty funny stuff, like a classic Florida Mutineers performance this time around this event. Now, of course, it goes on to game 4. Minnesota Rokkr managed to take this one, but then game 5, round 11, I'm pretty sure Minnesota are up 5-4 here as well. Round 11, they got the first couple of bloods. Bance does get one back here onto TJ, I believe, and Afro finds himself in a pretty much impossible 1 versus 3, and it's the Vegas Legion that win this series 3-2 to not just get top 8 as they achieved yesterday, but out to get top 6 and potentially beyond by the time you guys are watching this video. But just a great storyline in general that Vegas Legion, after winning 2 series all last year, they come into Major 1. They did okay online, 1 in 3, but, you know, should have done better, right? They should have won that game 5 they played in the first series. I look at Clay, man, he's absolutely cracked. The rest of the guys, business as usual. Really awesome storyline. And yeah, I just think, look, TJ and Prelude have been the key factors to me, because Temp and Claire kind of doing their thing, what you'd expect. But TJ and Prelude certainly have both turned up massively. They came to play on LAN, really good to see. And every single series that Legion seem to play, it's not a walkover for the other team by any means. They're keeping everything pretty competitive, and hopefully, well, long may it continue, let's just say, for this season, to finally see some life out of this franchise. And Clayster is the man to unlock it, I think, crucially. But yeah, Minnesota Rokkr out top 8, surprisingly low finish for them, but I guess someone has to drop out at this point. And yeah, Afro has a 1.18, but the rest of the guys not really delivering. Temp with a 1.32 for the W in this series. Even Afro was kind of talking about not being able to aim and jump and some sort of issues with the game, and that's not the only issues with the game that we're going to see here in a second. Beanie Donny as well, a 1.32 KD with his new beanie hat he's got going on. And you guys probably saw the interview from Clayster where he was getting a bit emotional, right? And you can understand, because he had a difficult off-season. There was a significant chance he wasn't even going to return. He said that kind of the offers that he had broken down because he had to step away for a few weeks to deal with, I believe, a family issue. So, you know, obviously Clayster did get the spot in the end, and it's just great to see. Like, you could see he was getting emotional about how much he's enjoyed his career and how much he's going to miss it when it's over. And it might be at the end of the season, right? But if Vegas deliver, then who knows how long Clay can go, because he's still getting results even with a franchise that we've all had very little faith in over the last couple of years. And also this stat from Brian Stats here ties Scump with a top 6 placement in 12 different COD titles. Now you'd imagine Scump will get this record back with 13 at some point this season, but you know, still pretty cool from Clayster to achieve this at the first event. Now, while this was going on after this series anyway, aBeZy and aBeZy was absolutely frying the Toronto guys. Like, his stats at the end of this series do not tell the story of the impact he had game 1, game 2. He was all over Toronto. They win the game 1, they win the game 2 as well, behind an aBeZy ace in the very first rounds. The game 3 control, it looked like they were going to throw it actually. I was kind of impressed by the composure from FaZe, just because they threw this map pretty hard. I think they're up 2-0 here, so they almost let the ultimate reverse sweep happen. And I mean, yeah, so Toronto win this one in the ends, but then FaZe bounce back and win the game 4 pretty impressively. So Toronto go down here, FaZe looking different. I mean, look, when Cellium's talking trash and getting loud, as we saw against Clayster earlier on, like, he is a tough beast to stop, there's no doubt. And yeah, the crowd was loving it as well, because Scrappy has certainly made some friends and he certainly made some enemies here over the last few days. And that was the funny thing that Scrappy actually said on broadcast, right? He said, you know what, guys, like, where's the competition? No one's even shooting back. The very next series after he says it, FaZe come out and put Scrappy down without too much resistance. Scrappy with a 0.82 as well in this series, so we'll see if he can bounce back in that Thieves series, which is currently going on in this other monitor. But yeah, Seller 1.42, Simp with 10,000 plus damage and a 1.25. Like, this is the Simp that we know, and he's finally starting to show that form yet again. That meant the bracket then looked like this, with FaZe advancing to the winners finals, guaranteed top 3, and they would play the winner of Subliners versus Surge tomorrow. Now, before that series happens, one of the most, I thought this was going to be the storyline of the day. Turns out the New York Subliners versus Surge thing was. Turns out what we're going to discuss here in a second was. But Parasite, as we mentioned, is subbing in for a European amateur team that couldn't have their 4th player there because he had visa issues or something along those lines. Now, it turns out Parasite's team that he was subbing in for matched up with his team that he's coaching. So incredible. Like, this is the type of stuff that only happens in Call of Duty. So anyway, Parasite's team that he was playing for go down 0-2, and Haggie's thinking, okay, yeah, his team that he actually coaches is going to get the win. Kind of a tough situation, but whatever. Then they win the control, and then they go into the hard point, and the team that Parasite coaches goes up about 150 to 50. They're dominating the map for hard points, and then I believe Parasite or another player lags out to get scan and repair, and the rules say, well, you've got to replay. Now, I'm sure Parasite was thinking, oh my god, they're going to hate me, right? The team that I'm coaching. But yeah, they got the replay and then won the replay. So Parasite basically just iced his own team, comes straight through, completely ruthless, and then wins the game 5 as well. It's just hilarious stuff. As he says, had to replay the hardpoint down by 100, won the replay, going last map versus my own team, and then wins the last map as well. So, I mean, just absolutely absurd stuff here from Parasite. And even Eric Boom is basically just laughing at the opposition, saying you just got beaten by your own coach. I mean, look, Parasite's a world champion and still could be a very solid player, but it's just an unbelievable storyline here for the Call of Duty League. Obviously, this is in the Challenger side, but you just simply can't make this type of stuff up. It's why we love Call of Duty, man. Now, and even as Crone says here, Parasite winning his own strats in Game 5 because he probably knew some tendencies of their team that he could potentially relay iLLeY on. And look, he goes on to say here, and this is the thing, people were giving Parasite trash for this, but at the end of the day, he can't throw the game. Like, from competitive integrity reasons, he can't just throw and like forfeit the game or something. He has to play to a level, and he says that he doesn't really know any of that. He doesn't coach them in search and destroy, so he doesn't know any of their strats and stuff, and he doesn't actually get paid for this coaching role anyway. He says he's just doing friends a favor, helping them out. If I had a real job, I'd prioritize that. I just love being involved in COD. It's what I like to do. And I mean, yeah, what a crazy result and an unbelievable storyline to finish that one out. Now, a storyline that topped that was this. So, Surge played the New York Subliners, a massive series to confirm top 3 in the tournament to play FaZe as we saw. Game 1, the Subliners get another impressive hardpoint victory, but then Surge surprisingly bounced back in the search and destroy, just because they've been pretty woeful so far in search. So an impressive victory for them, dominated the Subliners to tie it up at 1-1. And then, can you believe it, we get an SAE repeat. The hilarious thing about this is, like, this situation occurred again. Now, it's not the SAE, it's another bug that happened in the game, or potentially not with the game, but with the controller. And that, I believe, is the key differential here. But, like, it's incredible how this works. It's round 5, aBeZy control. The team is capturing the point, as you can see Pred doing on offense. The team that has the issue is the defensive team just coming off spawn, and the series is tied 1-1. It's an identical scenario, pretty much, to what happened the other day with OpTic versus Minnesota Rokkr. Now, in that case, Cammy called in the SAE, the streak glitched on him, his game froze, and because the game was at fault, they got a replay for that. Now, what happened in this exact moment is that Hydra's controller breaks or something, and you can actually watch, if you look at the minimap very closely, that he's basically just walking towards this wall. He comes off spawn here, he's the first guy up, and if he was allowed to move properly, if he had no issues moving, he would have been able, I'm almost certain he would have been able to get in time to stop Pred. He has issues. You can see him actually just walking into this wall over here, standing still, like, you know, what's he doing? Eventually, he actually gets back and starts moving again, but it takes him a good few seconds, and by the time he gets close, then Priester gets in, and well, Pred gets the kill, and they win the game. So if Hydra didn't have that issue, he probably gets there in time, and Hydra obviously, you know, distraught about this, talking to the referees. They get the coach involved to discuss to the referees about what this issue was. Now, the question is this a game issue, or is this a controller issue? Because it's been a thing for a long time in Call of Duty. If your controller breaks and, like, you can't play the game or something, then unlucky. It's not your fault, but it's not deemed to be a replay, because you could argue that there's certain ways that you can either disconnect your controller or make it play up some way or another and guarantee a replay. Like, that's kind of always been a thing. The issue is that if it's a game glitch and the game was broken, then that should amount to a replay, right? Because we saw that happen in the Rokkr series versus OpTic, where they got a replay for a game-breaking issue, where probably Cammy can't even get to the hard point. Hydra most certainly could, or the control point, sorry. Even as Shotzzy says, iLLeY might be cursed. So the league decide to not replay it, and then they went to another break, because clearly Sender was still in conversation here, because he was saying that the glitch that Hydra got was not a controller breaking, because if it had been the controller breaking, then he would have theoretically just stood still, I guess, or something, even though I'm not sure. People were trying to theorize what glitch he actually had. Some people have said that there's some glitch that can happen where the game breaks and you can only move around with your mouse and not with your controller, and that would be an in-game problem, not a hardware controller problem. And if that's the case, then surely using the same rules that got the replay for Rokkr against OpTic, it should have been a replay for New York Subliners. So what do you guys think about this? It really depends on what type of glitch Hydra actually had. You can see here, like, this is the moment he's walking into the wall and he says, like, I can't play, my controller doesn't work. And you know, was that a game issue or was that a controller issue? We don't really know. The CDL have determined it was a controller issue and therefore there's no replay. They made their mind up, and in fairness to them, they made a decision and they went with it, and we didn't have to wait 2 hours. So I kind of respect that element of it. It didn't take too long to resolve this. You can understand New York's deep frustration there, because a very similar situation just a couple of weeks ago for the Minnesota Rokkr netted them a replay, and the Subliners got nothing in this case. So yeah, where do you guys fall on this, right? Because I almost feel like the ideal world is we've got a bloody pause feature, but it doesn't exist. So we've got to deal with what it is with the state of the game. And yeah, in the end, as Octane says, right, iLLeY Thieves next series better throw in some delays. Well, what do you guys think? Is this inconsistent ruling from the CDL? An incredibly similar scenario got replayed 2 weeks ago, doesn't get replayed here. And New York were obviously not convinced this whole, oh, it was a controller issue explanation held too much water, because, you know, they went back again to complain to the CDL and had to go to another 10-minute break after, you know, the initial decision had been made. So what do you guys think about this? It's a very controversial situation that, well, ends up in sublaners losing game 4 and losing the series. So we didn't get too much from this as yet from the sublaners camp. Sky says probably win that map if Paco's controller was working. So annoying, will be better tomorrow. So yeah, really frustrating for the sublaners guys. Like, again, the game is fundamentally at fault, but did the CDL just go against the road and ruling from 2 weeks ago? You can argue they did. And the lack of transparency really is one of the complications here that kind of frustrates people. But even subliners seem to admit here after the series that, okay, yes, well, if it was a hardware malfunction, then I suppose the rules say that that's fine. But maybe the rules are bad. I don't know. Intrigued to your thoughts, man. I mean, the CDL just never fails to deliver some crazy storylines on the day. This was the overall series scoreboard. And yes, tomorrow morning I will be discussing in detail the Vegas versus Subliner series and also that Thieves versus the Toronto Ultra series that is going on and will be finished by the time this video goes live. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.